No rest for the wicked, ladies and gentlemen, on Sportswire Radio, because we are back once again in prime time. The brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all wrestling matters. And our guests here have had a rather interesting journey. Now, you've, like me, probably seen them quite a bit in the Philadelphia backyard wrestling scene, famously for Championship Prime Wrestling, where these guys held numerous championships, had some really interesting moments. But you also might have seen them in a little old promotion called Pro Wrestling Venom. Yeah, Pro Wrestling Venom. It was run by Jimmy Controversy. Dirty Ron runs it now. And a slew of guests on Sportswire Radio have been here who are in Pro Wrestling Venom. One of our guests here actually got a chance to wrestle there, and another one of our guests got a chance to wrestle against a couple of guys that I know pretty well called, I don't know, the Brooklyn Prodigies, one of the premier tag teams in the Northeast area. And these guys got an interesting enough story that they actually went from, well, I don't know, kind of like our guest here yesterday, going from in the yard to now transitioning into the pros. They're going to talk about that. They're going to talk about their journey also, and everything else in between. And boy, as they always say here, you never know what you get on Sportswire Radio. You never know what you're going to get. And that's why we're excited about this one. Now, I know our guests here haven't been here before, but I have to give them that introduction that so many of their colleagues have gotten, so many of their peers have gotten. And after all, they've been champions. They've done it all. And one might be a prize fighter. Another one might be a lone diamond. But we must give them that introduction, because everybody else gets it, and it wouldn't be Sportswire Radio without giving it to them. So as DMX used to famously say, X is going to give it to you. Well, the Rev is going to give it to you, and the introduction that everybody's waiting for. So ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute honor to have these guys on here. I've been speaking to these guys for a while. One of these guys I feel like likes every single post I've ever had on Instagram, and I feel like I have to make it up for him. Plus, I'm even going to have something for these guys to kind of commemorate their time in the Philadelphia backyard wrestling scene. Stay tuned for that. But ladies and gentlemen, enough of the pageantries. It's time to give our guest that introduction that they've been waiting for and they deserve. So with that,
oh man,
do here on the Sports Report. Number one global sports show. Simply put, they are the prize fighter, Devin Adams, and the Lord Diamond, J.J. Stevens. Fellas, how are ya?
we're good, man.
Good,
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, brother.
Hell yeah.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure. It's an honor to have you guys, and I was excited because we were speaking off the air, and then you decided to say, hey, I'm going to bring my brother on, and then I actually happened to, your brother likes every single one of my posts on Instagram ever in history, and that's crazy because I feel like all I do is post all day on Instagram, but I'm blessed to have as many followers as I have on Instagram. But fellas, it is an absolute honor to have you guys because, you know, for our audience right now and in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all wrestling matters, you guys have quite a story, quite an interesting journey. In many ways, it's similar, but it's different at the same time for many of our guests that come on here that are well known in the backyard and the underground wrestling circuit. And I'm going to start off here at the very top for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio. And since we haven't had you guys for the first time, I'd like you to introduce yourselves to the people. And I'll start with the prize fighter, Devin Adams. You definitely look like a prize fighter. I'm going to put up some links up here on the screen shortly. I'm going to put up some YouTube, some Instagram, everything else in between. And Tell us who you are and what you're doing and why you're making a transition coming up here.
Ah, man. Well, for those of you who don't know who I am, ladies and gentlemen, I am the man of man. I am the big dog. I am the prize fighter. My name's Devin Adams. Why did I make the transition? Because as much fun as the backyard has been, it's about that time that the same footprint I left in the backyard scene, it's about that time I start making that I make that same footprint in the other scene, even if it means I gotta put that footprint on someone's chest.
Well, I mean that's an interesting thing. Let me ask you then. I want to get to your brother in a second, but I mean it's interesting. You talked about making a footprint. You've talked about a lot of the things you've accomplished in the yard, and we'll talk about some of the matches both of you have had. But do you think it played into a factor? Places or matches you've had that maybe led to that decision of where you want to make that transition from being in the yard and dominating the Philadelphia backyard wrestling scene to going about it and eventually going into the underground and in the independent pro wrestling circuit?
Yeah, I definitely feel as though that played a big part. With some of the matches that I've had where the outcome didn't go in my favor, and I'm sitting there just looking to myself. I'm like, what what is this all going to come to eventually? And I'm just like, it's got to come to some point. It's got to come to something at some point, and it's not going to come to that unless I put it there. So it was either stay in the scene and re like constantly put that same footprint that I put already, just make it bigger and bigger, or step into a new world and put that same and do like I did, put that same footprint, but know that once I step into the other world and I put that blueprint and I put that footprint, the outcome are going to be the outcomes are going to be very much different, and there's going to be a lot more spotlight for the prize fighter Devin Adams.
Let me ask you as a follow up, and I do want to get to your brother in a second. But yesterday I had on a guy, AJ Morgan, who basically has transitioned. He went from wrestling in a yard. His company was in the yard like you guys, or you guys had a totally different product. We'll definitely get to that, I'm sure. And he talked about in the yard, guys almost plateau. They go out there and it's almost like you can't go any further. Did you feel the same way? And kind of, and from his vantage point, he feels that he was only going to reach a certain ceiling. So he has to, and he's made the transition to be trained and to be a pro wrestler. He's wrestling for a legitimate company in Alabama, Spartan Pro Wrestling. And do you kind of feel the same way and what led to the process of making that decision?
Uh, Me personally, I felt as though not going pro or at least trying it was gonna make me or break me.
Well,
I went into it with the mindset of if I and this kind of goes back to the first question because certain matches
sure.
I've had in the backyard were really them test matches for me to be like, hey, can I make it in the pro scene? Can I do this? Can I?
Yeah.
You feel me? So having certain matches in the backyard scene was the reason why I said I could if I could do it like this, I could do it in the pro scene. So for me, the backyard actually was the eye opener.
Why was it the eye opener?
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, this is the one platform where I think people know that this is we are the only platform where all wrestling matters. I mean, I have to say that
Yeah.
we're kind of that at this point. It's what it is.
All
What can I tell you?
right. The part where I felt as though it mattered to me, when my eyes really got opened up, I think it was really when. So I've been on pro wrestling Venom myself, but
Yes.
I originally got my start with that whole group there. I got my start on GTS. Um, the match where it was like the eye opener, if I can do this, was when I won my first United States championship. So once I won the GTS United.
And I think we lost the guys. Oh, there we go.
Said this is the eye opener for me. This is gonna be it right here for me. This is where I can go. I can do it. If I can do it here, I can go pro and do it. Once I did it there was nothing. I felt as though there was nothing I couldn't touch. No wall I couldn't break through. No speed bump I couldn't step over. I've just been pushing through everything so far since then.
I'm gonna come back to that because there's a lot to dive into the GTS thing, and I kind of get the idea anyway. If you were in GTS and wanted to go back there, there's a protocol. You have to be trained. I'll hang on to that thought. But JJ Stevens, obviously nice to formally meet you. Obviously, you've definitely been a guy that's been a guy. Jump in.
No, I was gonna say I'm not leaving. I'll be right back.
Oh, no problem. Take all the time you need. I got JJ Stevens here, the Lone Diamond. But obviously, good to meet you. Obviously, formally, it's nice to see you. I know we've seen each other on Instagram quite a bit.
Yeah.
But you've obviously are also making the jump. You, like your brother, is been on Pro Wrestling Venom, and you've been in some big matches. You've been a very successful yarder. So talk about for you, making the transition from going yard, being a successful yarder here in Philadelphia, but to now making that transition and going pro.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I felt as though, all right, I've been obviously, like a lot of people, being wrestling fans all your life is going to lead up to, at least for me and my family, most of my family want to be wrestlers because we watched it growing up, idolized it.
Philadelphia is like the hot, but I'm in New York City. Philadelphia is a hot market. We know historically for wrestling. We know that.
Yeah, but I'm officially from Jersey. I'm from New Jersey. But
yeah, I knew that. But I mean, Philadelphia,
Philadelphia and Jersey, yeah. But yeah, as having that influence, I wanted to be a wrestler all my life. So when the idea sparked of becoming a pro wrestler after doing the yard, it was no hesitation for me. I didn't care if it was an hour, 2 hours. I was gonna make my way down here to get the proper training to actually do this.
What let me ask you, who were some of obviously you're from Jersey, and I will certainly get to some comments. People are here. I know they're tuning into the conversation, but who were some of the wrestlers that influenced you?
Growing up?
Yeah, growing up. Who were some of the wrestlers that influenced you? Absolutely.
AJ Styles. He's still my all-time favorite wrestler.
Oh,
but AJ Styles, Shawn Michaels, Edge, the originals, but even Seth Rollins also.
Seth Rollins. I mean, he's an incarnation of Shawn Michaels a little bit.
I've been following him ever since Ring of Honor, really.
Okay, we're talking about 20 years.
Talk about Tyler Black.
Tyler Black, yeah.
Tyler
when
Black.
He was Tyler Black.
Yeah, Tyler Black. That's the boy right there. Tyler Black, Seth Rollins. Shout out to him.
Matt Sydal.
Ooh,
another good name.
Yeah.
Another game. Yep, another great name. Absolutely, sure. I had a great run there. But those were some of the things that influenced you, and you're making the transition, and you decide. Did you feel also like your brother that it's almost like, okay, I want to make the jump? And did you guys both decide at the same time to do it? Was there any trepidation at all?
So
honestly, that's actually a good question.
I went there first, right?
You went first, but the idea, because
we all had that same idea.
Once we got done, like it was like once our big show came up and we got that done, I guess it was like one of the moments where like we were just sitting and we're just like, what's next?
Yeah.
And one of our homies reached out to us and he's like, yeah, I got this. It's this place out here that's willing to, try to bring some new people in. They want to train people. And at first we was like, we had to really talk about it. Like, are we ready to shut down the company for it? And it was like, once we all got on the same page and we realized this is what we wanted, we said, screw it. Let's do it. Let's buckle up the seatbelts. Let's jump in this car. Let's take this trip up the pro scene and see what happens. Let's see where it takes us. So ever since that, we haven't looked back.
You could also look at it and say that you only get one shot to do it. I mean, I speak with a lot of guys every night, and there are some guys that did the training. Jack Delta, for example, went out and
Yeah,
he
Jack
got
Delta, the
himself
homie
trained.
gas.
Well, everybody knows Jack Delta. I mean, it's like talking about McDonald's.
Right.
It's like talking McDonald's. Everybody goes to McDonald's, right? Jack Delta in the backyard.
Right.
Everybody
It's
knows
like
him at this point.
McDonald's.
I actually had a McDonald's this afternoon. I had a burger and a small fries, but different conversation for a different time. But the point is that he talked about even his experiences. He trained for about 6 months and he was trained, but decided he didn't want to go pro, but he was trained. I have my buddy Big Man Cam, a TikTok influencer, did 2 years training, and he went out and decided that he was going to sort of be an in-between. And there are a lot of guys that make that decision, but for you guys, now that you're going into it, there's no going back. There's no going back to the yard from your vantage point at the moment. Is that a fair statement for me to bring up?
I really banished. I wouldn't say banished from the yard. That's like one of those things.
I would say finished. Are you finished from the yard?
Oh. My bad.
I wouldn't say bad.
Yeah,
Everybody comes back if they want to. I mean, I was more like, guys,
are
you finished from the yard?
Yeah, I would say we're finished. I'm also gonna say in character because I just I'm the type of guy.
You're a prize fighter, I know.
They don't want us to come back because they know if we come back, we setting everything on fire like we did the first time. Well, don't let us come back for a second run. We come back for a second run, everybody's in trouble. I mean everybody.
But nah,
well, you definitely did a lot of great things, and it's good to have somebody kind of local for me because I speak with a lot of wrestlers. They're either around the world or in different parts of the country, and you guys are practically not far from me. So, what was it like for you guys coming up in the, I guess you want to say, New Jersey, Philadelphia, tri-state area, backyard scene and such? What was it? Because I'm in New York City, so you guys are almost a stone's throw away from me. Even though in New York City, as you can imagine, we really don't have a backyard wrestling scene because let's be honest, most of the city of New York are, so there really isn't any sense logically to have backyard wrestling.
Yeah.
But
same
with us.
And before we started wrestling with in Philly, in Trenton, we were the only.
It was really the only.
We were the
backyard
only,
wrestling.
So we know how New York feel about that. We were the only backyard wrestling company. There was only one, and we took that role with pride, and we took it with honor, and we put. And I think in both of our opinion, we took that and we used it as leverage, and we pushed it till the fucking wheels fell off. We pushed the fact that we're the only company,
in our city.
In our city, we pushed it. We pushed it to the damn wheels fell off.
Yeah, I mean, you guys did really well. I mean, I think over 600 plus subs on YouTube, a lot of viewed matches. I mean, like that must have been a lot of pressure though, because again, we have people from all over the country, and it's easy in a lot of places if you have a big property, you put together a ring, you put together some type of trampoline or a mat, it makes sense. But you guys really had almost the weight of the world on your shoulders. It would be like if me right now tomorrow, I was all of a sudden going to go out and start a backyard wrestle. Well, maybe not me because I would know so many people, but if I had no experience and knew nobody, and all of a sudden tomorrow I was going to go in my backyard, put a wrestling ring out there, that would be a tremendous amount of pressure. I would have to figure out how I'm doing, what I'm going about. And did you guys feel like you had that pressure and such to succeed? And I'll just be curious on that before I put some more links on the screen.
Yeah, we definitely did have that pressure. We felt it in our first couple of shows.
Yeah, because we really didn't have nobody.
Because it was like
four people.
The part that made it, that put the pressure with us, was the fact that I think we were at the time that I know of, we were the only backyard show who was really based out at a playground.
Yeah.
And from in the midway of our careers, our company, we had to make a couple transitions because of the way our city is. So the pressure of all that took a lot, and it was like we either adapt or we let it kill us. And we said,
And I think we lost the guys. Oh, there they go. That's the magic of technology. There you go. We lost you. Go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
we
I
put
got you.
this, we put this masterpiece together, and we said we were not going to let it fail. So the pressure, we actually like it was tough the first couple months, but we took it and we used it as energy, and we used it to we ran with it. We used it to push ourselves to the top and show everybody why it don't matter if you're in a park. We put on no matter where
no
we
matter in the
are.
park, it don't matter if you in the ring.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny you said that because, I'm from New York City and I played basketball growing up. I played relatively at an okay level, and I would play it a lot at the playground. And it was always kind of like, oh, you play basketball, you go to the playground. And in a lot of ways, you guys kind of brought that mentality. And, Philadelphia as a city, was a lot of that also same, I think, similarities that I have in my home city. And I'm just curious, what was that like? I've seen some of the footage, and I know there was like one sort of company that did a few things in New York City, like in Manhattan or at some point, but it was like there's very little footage of it. But
Yeah,
I mean, what was it like?
TKW.
Yeah, exactly. So you and I both knew about it. Okay. But I was curious, what's it like shooting in a park? Do you like have to know like what time most people aren't in the park? And I mean, I had one company in North Dakota do something like that, but what was that like?
So that aspect of thinking, we really didn't care if people was at the park or not.
Mm-mm.
So if people was at the park, we thought about it like they about to get a free show, basically.
Right.
So
If the to go off of what my brother was saying, that's basically it. Like the park that we was wrestling at, once we made the transition over to the new park, it was literally a double-edged blade with us on one side and then a bunch of things on the other. If you can see it, if you can see it, there's a giant
Which is the
playground
most
on the other
successful match
side.
in the company's history, by the way. It's 1,300 plus views.
Yeah.
it's us.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know
it is.
myself.
Yeah,
Listen, I
that
mean,
is right.
you
It
give
is,
me, listen, we were speaking and it was like we were doing this in 15 minutes, but I'm always prepared. So trust me, I could go 2 minutes on the air and be told to bring a guest on, and I'll be able to do it. There are guys right now, there's a guy out there right now doing a show, and he wouldn't know anything about anything. But me, it's a totally different thing. And, we're watching this, and this match was the most successful match in CPW history. And you're out there as the global champion. You were that champion for over 200 days. And talk about this setup here. Just a very different one than what we're used to watching on here, Sportswire Radio.
Yeah, I'll let you go first. Talk about
everybody.
The environment. What was it like?
It's a big park, and honestly, we used it to our advantage. So I'm glad we did it because it's a big park. You cannot use it. You got to use it. But we made sure not to go over there when actual kids was playing.
That was my question. I'm like, okay, when you're going there, what's that
I
setup
don't like the aspect of people thinking that we're not careful, and
it's not even that people think we're not careful,
because half of the time people don't even be at the park.
It wasn't, for me, it wasn't even an aspect of people thinking we weren't careful. It was the fact that people were thinking we were just heartless monsters. Like, oh yeah, you guys.
Wait a minute. Philadelphia thinks like that. These were the people that cheered when Michael Irvin years ago famously got carted off the field. This is Philadelphia.
This is Jersey. These are Jersey people. Well, Slav's Jersey and Philadelphia people we're talking about, and the people that are and it's funny because it's like. The one thing that we're gonna make clear here is me and my brothers are open books about anything, and we're not afraid to talk about the past stuff, and we're not afraid to bring up certain scenarios. For one, and I know you said you weren't gonna talk about it, but I'm just gonna bring Jimmy controversy. The problem with Jimmy was he took one of our matches. Actually, our recent show, the last show we did
in May,
He took that and basically tried to make it seem like because we did a light tubes match, and without even reaching out and messaging us or consulting us, that was Jimmy.
Philly Mike.
That was Jimmy too.
Oh, Jimmy too. Okay.
Jimmy because it was both of them. But I talked to Philly. But he didn't. The thing with Philly, he didn't post up about us. He just commented on the video. Jimmy put a whole post up about us, and basically he tried to make it seem like, oh, these guys can't do nothing. They're a hazard to themselves, and this, that, and the third. But then you got to think about these things as well. First off, you didn't reach out to us and ask us how that whole thing played out. You didn't ask us if we cleaned it up. You didn't ask us none of that. You didn't do that. You didn't reach out to us. You just went on social media, took our footage, took pictures of the bad spots, and
tried to make you guys out a certain way.
Basically, he tried to bash us. But with that, you talk about we need training and stuff like that, but you say we're a hazard to ourselves. But yet, how many episodes of Pro Wrestling Venom did you have us on? You booked us on your show.
So why do you think that was?
My thing, and this was one thing that I said I wasn't. I'm not. I was.
Well, I'd rather you not, because you guys, if there's something I would say at this point, don't incriminate yourselves at this point.
Yeah,
let's leave it at that. But let's stay Pro Wrestling Venom and ask you, JJ, about wrestling Tarzan Duran. But I will ask you about that. I'll get to comments. I know people want to say hello, but talk about your opponent. Talk about wrestling here and going through these different objects, and what's that experience like compared to what I'm used to seeing here normally on Sportswire Radio.
So, man, I don't even know. This match was honestly.
Does this hurt going into like park objects and like slides?
No, honestly, adrenaline is one hell of a drug because, man, I can't really. I'm not really feeling nothing.
For all of us,
really? Okay.
For us,
like
it was like tough for the new guys that we brought in.
Yeah, but we just get it. I don't know.
Once the Philly guys came in and they started taking the bumps with us, it took them a while to get used to it. Us, it was like from the it
was already 2 years.
It was already 2 years in the last park, so it was like it wasn't nothing new for us. And then once we came here, it just made this look better because our goal was be safe but make it look as realistic as possible.
That's why I say I'm a big advocate on Dolph Ziggler. I love the way he sells. And the way
I mean, when he was. he would fall over and he'd fall over to the other side of the ring.
Like it's a car crash, but
right.
Like I tried to.
Well, Shawn Michaels used to be like that when he would take the stunner years ago. He'd take the stunner and he'd all of a sudden fall. Mm-hmm. And it was like he never felt anything like that. Even that's. I think even the match he had with Hulk Hogan in SummerSlam 2005, and he was just so dramatic with all the
every punch.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but I was curious just just being in a match like this and the environment, and you talked about adrenaline, and do you think the adrenaline would be the same if you were in a quintessential ring? Because a lot of people are watching this right now, and I see a lot of people are tuned in right now. I'm starting to get comments, which I figured out of the curiosity for it would look at it and say, well, what's that like? And, do you think you'd have the same adrenaline if you were in, let's say, a standard backyard ring, like a lot of these guys that I'm sure are going to pop on here shortly and comment on would be? I'm curious, JJ, about your thoughts on that.
Yes, I would say, yeah.
Tell me why you have the same adrenaline.
I've been in rings, honestly, and I've taken choke slams to.
Now, what did you do just there, by the way? That was a really cool spinning.
That was it was supposed to be like a corkscrew like not moonsault, but a corkscrew splash.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was one of those moves I just created on the fly.
Yeah, that's That's one thing I can say that with him. I'm proud of. He's taken his character and his moves and he's made them into his own, and he's grown a fan base off of the craziest moves.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Sick.
seen your stuff, and I see a lot of guys like your stuff from
I'm
different
blessed for that
places.
because this
Well,
is yeah.
and we're blessed to have you. Do you think that you gained creativity from also being in settings that you had that almost parkour kind of influence? Everybody's talked about over the past few years Darby Allin. Darby Allin's been this guy with the parkour reference
Yeah.
and kind of his style. Do you feel that way?
Yeah. I try to make every match I go into look like it's gonna be my last. Like I'm only make it look that good to the point where you think I'm not gonna be able to get up. And a lot of my matches, a lot of people do that. A lot of people think I'm not getting back up or I'm not kicking
Well,
out.
do you feel like you're gonna get up each time?
That's a good question.
That's why I gotta ask the questions, because now we're watching
That's
the
a
match
good one.
and
That's a good one.
we're seeing you guys go back and forth. And
If
is
I
it
was
weird?
okay,
Yeah, go ahead,
if
jump
I
in.
was watching this as a fan, no, I wouldn't. If I was a fan sitting down watching my match, I would not think I'd be able to get up after the moves. Have the wrestlers I wrestle deliver to me.
Okay, let me
Because,
ask you a different question. You guys are having a match like this.
okay.
Yesterday, I spoke with again AJ Morgan, also making the transition, and he talks about basically the amount of time that he would go into plan for the match. Osiris was here last night from ESW Shockwave. He talked about in some cases it takes up to a week he would have in order to prepare for a match. Vegas Storm was being trained by Copper Dragon. You guys obviously had a little funny video about him not too long ago, and Vegas Storm was like, "Oh, me and my opponent, we just went out there and we did the match on the fly and we trusted each other. We were friends." A match like this, do you plan it? Do you just do it on the fly? What's the scenario like here? Walk me through it.
This match in particular, yeah, we did it on the fly.
Yeah,
Besides a few little spots we called like particularly the finish
the
of the match.
Yeah.
Everything else, yes, it's on the fly.
Yeah, that's how it is with most of our videos.
Yeah, most of our matches.
Yeah, because
Is it better that way? Because again, it's such a difference of opinions. It seems some people are like, swear Osiris was like, you gotta plan, you gotta be with your opponent. I've spoke with a lot of guys over in the UK, and the consensus was you have to get to the arena that day. You have to sit with your opponent, talk with him, and make sure that you are both on the same page. And
understandable.
That's understandable, but it's like honestly, with us, and this is the craziest part about it, that type of thing, like happen to go to the. We've never had like for us, we've never had to be like we gotta go to the venue a couple days before and talk about it. It's never been like that. The one thing that we always made sure that was different was when we go somewhere else. All right, we're talking about spots. If we're not working each other, we're talking about spots with our opponent. But the main thing that we would always the only thing that we would talk to about with our opponents is the beginning, the middle, and the finish. That's it. When it's us and we're just out there and we're out on our area doing our thing, the only thing that really gets talked about is just the finish, like how we end this. Other than that, all the stuff you're seeing right here gets done on the fly. None of the stuff is talked about.
Well, how about this right here? I mean, I watched it before. I watched it before we went on the air, and I'm watching it again. And I mean, how are you able to pull that off?
I don't know. I'm just
to this day, this man still.
I'll be surprised when some of the things I do. So I'll be surprised, just like fans, just like people first time watching my matches.
You guys are going through a match here, and as I know, a lot of people want to say hello, and they're like, "What?" Like it's a curiosity factor. But when you see this many people watch your match, that amount of people who liked it, what did that mean to you guys in terms of just what you guys did in CPW?
That honestly, that meant so much because we didn't even think this was going to even hit 50 views, let alone over.
Oh, it hit a lot more than 50. It got 66 likes or something like that, whatever it was.
That's why I'm,
every video we post, when I look at the video,
nothing, because I know you've seen we don't even edit our videos.
No.
I sit here and watch.
Well, you shouldn't say that live on Sportswire because your peers are listening to this and they're like, "Oh,
okay."
I'm gonna say
your peer." I would say don't incriminate your stuff because there's a lot of
Yeah.
your peers starting to come into the conversation. So
Okay.
I would say, don't plead the fifth.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, like when it comes to pride and everything, yeah. Seeing how but that was with every video we did, even if I wasn't in it. Every video we posted, we were proud of because it reached a higher number than what we thought. It left the single digits and hit the doubles. So whenever we see that, it didn't matter if it was 15, 50, 200, 100, 150. It didn't really matter to us. Each video, no matter the views, the fact that it got looked at, and it's off of the single digit, it's off of the one, even if it's only two, we're still gonna be proud of that because that's two people that looked at what we liked, that looked at what we did.
Oh, yeah.
Now we got 5 people, then we got 10, then it's 15, then it's prideful to see how much people seen everything we did and enjoyed it, and the fact that they enjoyed it and we got that many views off of it, dude. I can't, other than I can't really say anything else but to be proud. We were fucking ecstatic every time we saw the video. Every time we seen the video,
It's got to have meant more to you guys as we're here with the prize fighter Devin Adams and the Lone Diamond JJ Stevens, and they've made the transition to going out and training as pro wrestlers. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Your voice, figuratively and literally, all wrestling matters. And if you are here on YouTube for the first time, thank you so much for support. You can hit that sub button for us at Sportswire Radio 6579. And did this match and the success that we see here quite of I guess RKO there and such, but you guys I know have wrestled in Pro Wrestling Venom. JJ, you've wrestled Tarzan Duran. Devin, you've been in GTS, but do you feel like this was more personal success than being, let's say, a part of Pro Wrestling Venom, GTS, Wrestling the Prodigies, because it's yours? It's yours alone on your platform. Is that a fair statement for me to say? And you feel more like this was more of a personal success you accomplished? And there you go there with another moonsault.
Yes. Yeah. I feel as though this was that's a fair statement.
Yeah.
Because it's yours, right? When you go on like GTS, like Gabe Sayers recently wrestles Grimm, about 2 months ago. And it's a big deal, no question. But you're on his platform. It's his 1 million plus subs. So, a dog could come out and wrestle a match. It's going to get 15,000 views. I mean, let's be honest. But, that's no disrespect. It's the name. It's like Coke and Pepsi. But for you guys to go out there and put a match out there like this to get that many views had to have meant something maybe more personal than some of the places or people you've wrestled in.
It did.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing, like you said, to go to a different company and get that many views, but when you do it in your own company with your own roster, that hits different.
I think for me, I look at it as, because at this point I was already in and out of GTS, so for me it meant a whole lot more because I always believed that GTS was the breaking point for me. I always believed that GTS was the spot that would make me or break me. And like seeing the success that we got off of CPW, it changed my mind.
Why did you feel you could break with GTS? In what way did you mean a break? Break meaning to break out or break?
Yeah, I felt break out. Like I felt like that would have been the spot for me to break out.
You were in GTS. Correct me if I'm wrong. You were in GTS at the beginning of the year, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I was. So I went into GTS in November.
Right. And when they were in the CZW building, right?
No. No. That was No, I was with them
That
when they
was
were in
that
the
was your
original.
brother, right? Your brother was in that. Was that for Pro Wrestling
Yeah,
Veterans?
we were all
We
there.
all
We
was
were
there.
all there, but
Okay.
I started out like a year or two before
Yeah.
that. Before we
Oh,
went
so
to
you
pro
were in.
wrestling.
Yeah, okay, you were in Grimm's place. Okay, that
Yeah, I
makes
was
sense.
at Grimm's
That's
place.
that's what I thought, but I wanted to kind of get the timeline right.
Yeah, the place that they're
I mean,
doing their shows, the place that they do the shows now, other than the CZW dojo,
yep.
I was there. I got my
I think
start
they only
there.
do the dojo when the weather's like really bad. I mean, the dojos when it's like the
Yeah,
weather's
yeah.
like, you know.
Yeah, but the other place I was there, I started out in GTS there. That was like that was like ending of 21 going into 22. I started out September. I made my pay-per-view debut at Solid Steel Series, and I was one of the last guys for Team Grimm. So I got there, did my part, did my time. After that, it was like they were, After that, I felt as though doing it here, I was like, yeah, this might be my way out. But then having the success with GTS, win the U.S. title, and then the success I was getting from our company alone, it just seemed like my fan base went over from there to GTS, and it even more came back with me because of what happened. Um, when that whole thing originally happened,
He lost power.
he lost power.
Mhm.
Oh shit! He's coming back on. Hold on. Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. Man. I don't know if he's coming back on here or is he gonna send another link. I'm not too sure. You know the crap like money, no spotlight, money, no stalking. Uh, we are. I don't know if he's. I don't know if he. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if he's sending another link or not. If he is, then we're gonna have to get off of this one and go. There he is.
Sorry about that. Unfortunately, for those that are out there, I lost power because we're dealing with a rainstorm. Now I'm going to put the match back up. I think the match ended, but I think we were talking about just the overall success and the overall journey that you guys were on, and just the chronological timeline and everything else in between there and such.
Yeah. Um. Well, big long story short, I'm gonna just. Yeah, the the accomplishments from there really played a big part in everything. Um. Then then going to GTS, coming, then leaving, and then going back,
Yeah,
leaving
you were
again.
speaking, I think, about GTS. If it what did it, you broke you, but you broke you in a
Yeah,
different way.
yeah.
Having that
Um,
success, coming back for sure.
yeah. Trying to. So once everything went the way it went for me from GTS, I felt as though my goal was for it to break me into the game of pro wrestling, and it went a different way.
Unfortunately, there we go. Did I get you guys back now? There we go. Do you hear me? Yeah. Unfortunately, we're going through a bunch of storms, but you were saying, go ahead.
Yeah. I was hoping it would be the one to break me into the business of pro, and then it didn't go as the way I planned. But leaving, going back, then leaving again, and then ended up at Pro Wrestling Venom, and then doing what we did there. I just felt as though with all the times we went there, when I went and came back, the success of my company never ended at anything. As many times I went back, it just went up more and more because they were seeing that I wasn't. They seen that I wasn't giving up, and then once they got to see everything for themselves, they were like, it was a different aspect. Like, you don't need to go back there. You're good. You're famous right where you are. We like you better here. And at that point, I was just like, well, I'm cool where I'm at. CPW is it for me.
Well, I'm glad that you guys have had a lot more success, and I'm going to get to a lot of comments here. I'd like to say hello to some people here, and I want to actually allow some people to come into the conversation because we're on a few other platforms now, and I want to say hello to some people out there in Twitch. I want to say hello to some people out there on the Promo Wrestling Federation YouTube page, the Pride Wrestling Federation YouTube page. I'd like to be able to say hello to a lot of our friends out there in the world. So let me go speak to some people. First of all, hello there to 4K Trey Brandon. How you doing there, my friend? Nice to see you.
Good, B.
So what do you want to say to him? What do you want to say to good old Brandon?
My boy was good. B is a homie of mine from Instagram. I've known B for like 3 years. That's my boy. That's my brother. That's my We actually are in a we're in a promo company. We're in a promo company on Instagram. So that's where I know him from. If I'm allowed.
What kind of promo company do you have? Because I have this thing, the Promo Wrestling Federation. I know nothing how to run it. I mean, what do you?
So, it's not mine particularly, but I'm in a bunch of them. Let's see. Shout out BWP. That's ran by my big Goose Trex. Shout out to him.
Yes, he's here. I think he's here. Yep.
Yep. Shout out TPW. That's ran by my boy Rocky. He out in Texas. Shout out to him. Shout out OPW. That's another home of mine.
Wow, you're everywhere.
That's ran
why
I
see you on Instagram at like me at like 2:00 in the morning going live. I thought I was the only one posting on Instagram. Okay, you and everybody else. Okay. Yep. This all makes sense.
Yeah, OPW. What else is there?
It's a lot of.
I can't forget. Shout out CPF. That's my boy Brandon.
Wow. CPF, how you doing out there? Thank you for your support. Thank you for tuning in and hit the sub button for us. Because if you like hearing stuff like this, I'm on pretty much every night at this point. All I do is I'm here on this platform. I'm even on TikTok now, Sportswire Radio. And hello there, Tuba Master Gaming. Nice to meet you.
What's up, man?
I want to thank my buddy Hillbilly Tilly for sharing my post on Twitter because I'm on Twitter live as well. And he is also a big supporter of ours. He's a longtime yarder. He's the general manager of the Alliance Wrestling League and pulling another double. Yes, another double. But we've had some really good guests lately. Osiris was here from ESW. We had Vegas Storm, a protege. That was a good one. Vegas Storm was here today, a protege of Copper Dragon. And we had some really good guests. We had Comatose. Comatose is a big deal in the yard. I mean, we had some really, really good guests. We had a guy from Australia the other day, Yoshi Matsuda. I mean, it's just been.
I think that'd be nice.
That was crazy. It's just. I get requests.
Happy for you, man.
Thank you. I definitely worked for it. There's no question. My voice can tell you. I definitely. This was not handed to me. To be where the platform is, this was really an act of God, but really support from people like yourself. CJ Black, you guys know each other? Do you guys know each other?
I know CJ.
You do? You know him?
Yeah. I'll be watching ROEW.
Oh, everybody's watching ROEW. Yep,
wait, is that? That's what I think it is.
Yeah, the one who hit the.
That's the mask, right?
No. CJ Black. Man. CJ Black.
Either or. What's
he's not a mask.
What's good with you? Either or.
Is that your number one influence? CJ, is he your number one influence?
Me? I don't know about that. I don't know about that one, guy. But
Well, he has a good follow. He's got a good follow up. You got a good follow up here, and what do you got to do to make your dream come true? Respect. What does he like to say?
One thing I would say for me, to make your dreams come through.
Yeah.
If you want to
not be on Sportswire Radio.
Right. If you want to do something, and you're in a place where you got a lot of doubters, take all that and use that as your leverage and push yourself further than you can go. Push yourself further than what you may know, because we started training last month, and I'm not the slimmest guy out of the three of us.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
I got blown up easy, but now
you could do it like
I'm running that shit like.
Well, it doesn't matter. In wrestling, it doesn't matter like physique and that. I mean, Kevin Owens is a prime example. Kevin Owens isn't I would say comparable to, let's say, a body like a Scott Steiner had in his heyday, or a body, let's say, like a Braun Breaker, obviously his nephew, or a body like a John Cena. I mean, or Lex Luger in his prime. I don't think it necessarily matters. It's different, when you're a basketball player. I played basketball. I'm friends with a lot of college basketball players. You had to have a certain physique. You had to have a certain routine. I think in wrestling, it's a totally different dynamic. Listen, Gage Flair, case in point. Gage Flair, I wouldn't necessarily say, he's basically in the lane of no disrespect to like a body guy, but he's in phenomenal ring shape. I mean, he can run and do things in the ring as good as anybody. So whether you like him or not, that it's an undeniable fact. Hello there, April Smith. So you guys know April, and April
was good. I know. That's another friend of mine. What's up?
How you doing, April? Thank you for tuning in. CJ also wants to say, come back for a second run with a new finish that isn't a worse version of mine.
Who are you talking to? He ain't talking to me. What finish you talking about?
Well, you guys figure that out. I got some more comments. I want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. Il Drago. Il Drago's really another up-and-coming star. He's an up-and-coming star in the IMF. He was just a part of Summer Bash. Obviously, Summer Bash took place in Bremen, Ohio. Who knows? Maybe you'll be at next year's version. Maybe you guys want to travel more. I don't know. You never know. Mr. Jake Dvorak, I'm sure you know Jake.
Yo.
We love
Jake.
Took
the most lethal chair shot.
It's funny you said that, because I could show it on Instagram, but I think I'll get canceled off YouTube if I show it. I can't do it. I can't show it.
That's tragic.
Come
on, man.
Well, it's tragic for Jake's head, but for whatever reason, he took a picture with Justin Abel saying afterwards, and it was almost nothing happened. I mean, maybe he has chair shots for lunch, breakfast, and dinner like that. I don't know.
Crazy. That was crazy. But what's up, Jake, man?
Yo.
I'm Matt. He's one of those wrestlers I really wanted to wrestle.
Yeah, he was one of them guys that actually showed support when we first started.
He's a good man. He's always here, always supportive. He's actually got an All Wrestling Matters hardcore tournament, really off our movement, and really I endorse what he's doing. His company, NEW, out in Massachusetts. He was just at the UWF show with a lot of guys. Some of them from wrestling, but Mikey Anarchy, Gabe Sayers was there. So, Obey, a lot of guys I'm sure you've seen around, and somebody else I'm sure you've heard of, Anthony Steele. Heard of Anthony Steele, right?
Yeah, what's up, Anthony? Yo. Yep.
Anthony's
another one. He's another one to wrestle.
You want to wrestle Anthony Steele? You want to wrestle him?
Yeah. He may talk about you so much. I mean, might as well.
Why do you want to wrestle Anthony Steele for? Why do you want to wrestle him for?
No, I'm talking before. Like when I was doing backyard wrestling. He was one of those.
Oh, okay. Well, Anthony's trained too. Anthony's trained. Anthony is trained. Actually, Anthony is on the independents. He actually does stuff in the indies in Tennessee. He's
happy for him. That's
he got a lot
for a while. Yeah, Anthony's been around. Anthony's been around. Yeah, Anthony's another guy. Want to say hello to my buddy. He's my PWF champion, Mr. Justin Parsley. Old Testament guys can appreciate.
Thank you, man. We appreciate that.
Keep up the hard work. That was some hard work you guys had. Also, I think he compared you to Devin to Roman Grape, which I don't. We'll leave it at that.
Hey, man.
We'll go back and forth. We'll move on. But Jake's got a good one for you. You guys going to Massachusetts?
Ooh, man,
I really wanted to.
want to.
He asked me this.
Both
of us.
like when it was. He asked all three of us to come.
Yeah,
We've been
really.
trying to get down there, but traveling, especially when when your schedule is the way it is, it's getting It was.
We
It's
wanted
hard,
to.
and not everybody can travel. Not everybody can go out and
Like a
make
luxury
that.
too.
Yeah,
Trip.
as much as we wish, like we really wish we could have traveled out to places. Like, we want to go to certain spots.
Like in NEW.
Yeah,
AW.
NW,
Like
TBW, we want to go to those places, but we just wasn't, we wasn't capable enough to do that. So it is what it is. But they know that if we was able to, we definitely would have showed up and showed out like we do every
Where in Jersey were you guys from?
We're in Trenton, the capital.
Oh,
Yeah,
Trenton. Okay, I actually know Trenton, New Jersey. What a
Yeah,
small
Trenton,
world.
born and raised.
But I know Trenton very well. The Yankees have an affiliate in Trenton, or they did have an affiliate in Trenton. So there you go. What's good, real deal, Jessica Biel? I don't think Anthony Steele looks like Jessica Biel, but maybe I'll get my anatomy test on and I'll let you know. I'll let you know. I don't think Anthony Steele and Jessica Biel would be compared. But hey, who knows? Time will soon tell. I don't know what that means. Let's move on. Atomic Titan, my hardcore king, says, "How are you guys? Great to see everyone." He also says it was really badass to wrestle in a park. It was. I got to admit. Watching some, I gotta admit, in getting ready for you guys to come on, I was looking at some of the stuff, and I was like, that would be interesting to kind of ask the guys on, because, like I said, I'm from New York City, and realistically, not almost anybody in the city has a backyard. So the only thing, if you ever were to do anything, would be at like an open park lot or some type of playground where you could pull something off at certain times of the day. And that's why it is kind of cool for you guys to be able to pull off what you did and keep up the great work. I agree. Thank you, Il Drago. This your show now. Thank you very much. Yes, I lost power. Yes, I did lose power. Unfortunately, we're back from it. Robert Trexler wants to say hello. You guys know Robert Trexler?
Trex, what's good, bro?
Hey, Trex, how you doing? Also, yep, Verbal Warfare promo. I want to definitely put that out there. Yep. Big ups, Oos. Yep, big up.
BWP. Yeah.
So talk about Trex for me for a few minutes. I got a lot more comments.
Oh here. Man. So Trex is so Trex was one of the guys that helped me break into Anthony Steele brought me into promoing, but Trex was the one that took the time out to train me. Like it's been multiple times I can recall Trex calling me, texting me like, "Yo, you ready? You training?" He got me to the point where I am in the promo game. I am the most dangerous promo artist in the game today.
I got a better question on that, because I'm not a wrestler, but what did you guys learn from being in the promo world that helps you in the wrestling world?
Oh man, in the promo, it helps you build a character, because majority of your matches are now view wise. Everything is, when you're promoing and you're looking in that camera, everything you want to bring everything you say in a match promo to life. You want to feel like everything in your promo is really what you're gonna do. You want to make the person feel everything that you're putting them through. And that's one thing I can say I do the best right now. Right now, in promoing, I'm at the top of the mountain. Whether champion or not, I'm at the top of the promo game because I earned it.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good line. I have some more comments. Also, quote that or Otis. Okay, and this is the CPW link, which you want to check out. And I definitely want to agree with Hillbilly Tilly. If you like ROEW, the Alliance Wrestling League, kind of like you guys, they're transitioning from a backyard company into A lot of their guys are making the jump to train as indie wrestlers. So that's
Oh,
an
yeah.
excellent point. Love that. Their most recent show has 2,000 plus views. Michael Miner wants to say hello. And what's good cooking, Michael Miner? And what do you guys want to say about Michael
Jesus.
Miner?
Michael Miner. Damn.
Yes,
All
Michael
right.
Miner.
Michael Miner. So the story with Mike, that's actually funny. Michael, first off, Michael, what's good? Hope you're doing well. It's been a while.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Oh,
sir.
If um Michael Miner was the first person, he was the very first guy that I beat to win my first heavyweight championship in TPW.
Oh,
TPW at the time was going through a switch of ownership, and that was when Trex came along, and he was at the time, and he took ownership, but he was the world champion, so he had to vacate the title, and he could have done a lot of things. He could have shows people, and he could have just threw random. No, he handpicked me, and he was looking for someone to step up to me, and Michael Miner was the only one that stepped up, and me and Michael went to war. We went at each other's throats, and I came out on top, and I came out with my first world championship, beating Michael Miner. So Mike, there we go. Michael,
yeah.
love you, brother. Thank you for that great fight. Hope you're doing well, and hopefully you get back in the promo scene, because when you do, you already know me. You gotta run it again.
And if you're out there in the promo scene, I'm actually on the Promo Wrestling Federation YouTube page. I own the Promo Wrestling Federation, and I don't know what we're doing with it, but I do appreciate all you promo guys, because you guys do a lot of great things. Hunter Rothwell is in the house. He says, "What's up, Trex?" How you doing there? So what's cooking, Hunter? And Zilla's back here. Zilla is one of obviously our regular commenter here. Also, let me come back. Devin is one of my most successful trainees. Very nice.
Boom! There, see, one of the most successful, because it's really because of him. I've been successful because even when he took his little break, he left for a little while. Even when he left for a little bit, he was still pushing me on the side. He was telling me whenever he's seen that I picked up an L or something, little or not, he's pushing me. He's telling me, look, you're the guy. You're the man. Go back.
I think that means a lot. And it's good to see that they're here. And really, this was done on 10 minutes notice, and there's 50 plus people watching. I think that just shows you what, Sportswire. Well, I think it just shows that really, I got to be honest, people, they want to see me here till I drop dead, kind of like Flair on Nitro when he said he'd have a heart attack. I think there are people out there that secretly want to see that. Well, one of the running things before I get to more comments is that if I get 1,000 subscribers, I'll get a tattoo, an NEW Underground Wrestling tattoo, and I'm pretty close. I'm about 200 plus away. So I think, and I'll tell you the other thing, and I'm going to put it out there right now for the audience. So that's one thing. But I tell you what, if you get me to 1,000 subscribers, I'll even go further. I'll open the floor to anybody, not just an open mic. You want to come on here, and I'll let the stream go as long as you want. If you want these guys to take over Sportswire for the day, you want Anthony Steele, you want Atomic Titan, you want anybody out there. If you're out there in the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit right now, you're James Taylor, you're Jack Delta, you're Aaron Blaze, you're CJ Black, you're Omen Black, Jake Dvorak. You could, you know what? You guys remember how they had the roast of Tom Brady? Everybody talked about the roast of I'll let you guys, you say what you want. So I'll tell you what. So you get me to 1,000. Yes, the tattoo's one thing. Tattoo's a tattoo. But if I get to it, we know I'm going to get to 1,000 because I'm already almost at 800. So obviously we can see that we're going to get there. When we'll get there, that's up to you, the general public, to decide. But if you get me to 1,000 when that moment comes, because we're going to get there, I'll have the show go on, I don't know, as long as you want. And I'll get on as all of you people out in the community. You want to come on down? You want to say something? You want to roast me? Whatever. You want to roast somebody else? Whatever it is, you can come on down and join. And you get me to 1,000 subscribers. When we get there, we'll certainly see each other in a few months. And the whole backyard in the underground wrestling circuit, you're welcome. You're welcome to come on down because you're obviously getting me there. You've willed me to this far. So now you got to get me just a little bit more closer to that number. We could be, who knows, 6 hours, 7 hours, and you're the one that has control of the platform. So you want it, you're going to get it. So
get to 1,000.
Come on, guys.
I'm going to get there, though. Trust me. Now, all of a sudden, you see cells are going to come out. And yes, TBW's episode will be tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, the go-home show from Rebellion. I'm very much excited about that. Please support our friends at Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. Plus, I still have to give you guys something. I still want to give you guys something. An all-out slobber knocker in my JR voice. Yes, you're welcome to join. Anybody out there, you're welcome. You're going to get me to 1,000. I remember those guys that did Subway Mania NYC. It was very successful. Yeah, there's obviously a lot of reasons you stop, doing something like that just for safety reasons. It's legality. It's just a lot of things to do that. There's also been a problem in New York City with elevator surfing on the trains, and there's different things that go on outside the tracks, and it is a major problem. But yes, good point. I think I did mention it earlier. Hello there. What's up, Bud? Zilla, thank you very much. Great interview going on here. Yeah, I mean, I'm having a lot of fun, and that's what it's all about. CP Dub, CP Dub, CP Dub, CP Dub. And hello, Zilla. We respect you. Is Alan Michaels the next TBW World Champion? I don't know. Say his name and he appears, right? But obviously, we'll move on from that. Jack Delta's in the house. You guys want to say hello to Jack Delta?
Jack, what's up, Brody?
You guys want anything else you want to say to Jack? You like Jack's new haircut these days? What do you think about Jack's hair?
Wow. Amen.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So maybe now who did it? Now who did the hair coloring first?
It was this man.
My hair. I think he had it longer than me. I'm not too sure. I don't know.
I'm talking about Jack Delta. Okay.
I don't know when he did his, but
he did it probably. He'll quote me on this. What did he do it? I want to say May. Maybe May.
Yeah, I did mine. Yeah,
me and
him, same time.
I think VTW, the VTW run ended. I want to say Marchish, right? Maybe Marchish, and then he won the belt in ROBW in May, so maybe he did it in, I don't know, late April, early May, something like that. I don't know.
Okay, that's probably around the same time when I did mine.
Okay. All right, so fair enough. I think this is a good time before I ask you guys about a couple of other matches, which I realize I've only got so much time with you. I like to present to you guys something, because obviously it's great to have you guys here. It's great to meet you guys finally, but as I like to do on Sportswire, I like to obviously give our guests something, because on Sportswire, it's not like anybody else's show. It's not like anybody else's podcaster out there, other wankers that are in their mom's basement when they do this show. This is prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage. And you built the platform after all, so I want to give you guys a little something, only if you insist. And obviously, if you don't want me, I don't have to give you anything, but I'd like to give something. All right, well, only if you insist. I do have something I want to present to you guys, so let me do that here for the audience. So that's the wrong, well, actually, it might show up this way, but let me take the CPW screen and put this back, and I'm going to take this off the screen because I do have it right here. There we go. Okay, beautiful. Now I'm going to give you guys something here. That's what technology is about. Let's see. It should pop up here right now. And for those that are listening and watching, I do have this here for you. So give me 1 second. For whatever reason, it's not. There we go. Congratulations. You guys were the dominant force in Philadelphia Backyard Wrestling, Champion Prime Wrestling. And I know, obviously, the company, you guys have moved on to do different things, bigger and better things. But I wanted to take the time out and congratulate you guys on the success and all the subs and all the great moments. And you guys were the dominant force in Philadelphia Backyard Wrestling. And congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I bet you didn't expect that one. I bet you didn't expect to come on to Sportswire tonight, then let alone get an award and a certificate and be in front of 50 people.
I know that. Definitely.
Well, there you go. That's the magic, and congratulations.
I really do appreciate that.
And Jack actually said I caught the timing exactly of his hairstyle, because all I do is listen. The running joke is all I do is watch Backyard and Underground Wrestling. I know nothing else. I couldn't tell you what the weather's like. I couldn't tell you what the stock market's doing right now. The only thing I could tell you about is Backyard and Underground Wrestling. I wanted to ask you guys, and especially you, JJ, about Tarzan Duran, what that experience was like. I want to put the match up here on the screen. I got to talk about that. I got to talk about you and Tarzan Duran, because that was certainly one for the ages. I'm going to put this up on the screen shortly. And, for those that are listening and watching here on Sportswire Radio, just what was that experience like in wrestling the Tarzan Duran?
that experience alone was amazing. Because heading into this, this wasn't the original plan. That's why I love this match. Because it
I
wasn't
don't
planned
love
at
Jimmy
all.
Controversy's bald head, though. I have to admit.
Yeah.
I have to admit,
Yeah.
Jimmy's a friend of mine. I can safely say this. I would prefer Jimmy with hair, but I'm
Jimmy
sure.
with hair, yeah.
Tell
yeah.
Jimmy for me on that.
I got you.
All good.
But wait, let's just real quick. Let's just acknowledge the blonde in my boy's hair.
Yeah,
Let's just acknowledge the color.
Well,
My boy was a pioneer because I didn't even grow a cap. I originally dyed my hair I originally
Right.
did the blonde in my hair because of my brother.
well,
Because I was because I seen him. I seen
know
you
that.
I seen you did it first. And I was like, if you're because at first I was with me dyeing my hair, the color was I was very persistent on what color I would do. So once I seen how you were cool with somewhat of that color, and eventually it was blonde, and it went from blonde to that, I was like, well, if my brother can do it, fuck it, I guess I can be open to it. And I was like, fuck it, that'll be whenever push comes to shove and someone asks about it, I'll tell them yeah, I did this for my brother.
This match though, this one of my I'm gonna say it's probably my best match in my opinion.
Isaac Seif was a character.
how do you prepare for an opponent like the Tarzan Duran? I mean, like, how do you go?
Luckily, I'm a fan of Tarzan, so.
Everybody in this circuit, everybody knows him. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
In this
So
circuit,
I've been watching just like everybody else, and and when we was talking, he had a clear mind going into it too. Of not to sound, I want to sound like I'm trying to praise myself, but of him trying to make me look good, and I really, really, I'm grateful for that because he didn't have to do that, and even though this match was. This 5-6 minutes.
Oh,
it was one of my best matches.
Do you get a chance to talk to him before the match or ask him for anything to prepare? What was that experience like?
So, man, he actually, because the original plan for this day was me and Brazy Scar. I'm just gonna say it. Me and Brazy Scar was originally supposed to go against the Brooklyn Prodigies.
Who I see right there, obviously.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna get to next. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but the match the match didn't get scrapped, but me being in the match.
Yeah, it just
and
got
they
changed.
put Devin Adams. They put Devin over here in it.
Triple B type shit.
So I thought I wasn't gonna be in a match, but they took me out so we could have this match, and yeah, I'm grateful for that because one-on-one matches are my thing. I love one-on-one matches.
You talk about the match, and the match is, what is it, 5 minutes long, whatever it is, right? And I mean, you're wrestling a guy that not many
been
people
all over.
Right. So I'm curious, does it feel longer than 6 minutes out? Does it feel like, for example, 5 years ago, I interviewed a Major League Baseball player, played for the New York Mets, pitched in the World Series, Glendon Rush. And going into that interview, it was the first big interview I ever had in my life at the time, in my career. Even though I had a background in politics, worked in the government for about 15 minutes, it was like that interview I had, the nerves were the whole day. It was like, and then he basically delayed the interview for up to 3 hours. And when he did the interview, it was like, it took me like 15 minutes to finally like catch my almost like footings, and I made a joke and we were good after that. But when you wrestle a guy like this, you've obviously, you're never going to wrestle a guy like this every day.
Yeah.
Does it feel longer than the time you're in there? And is there nerves going into this?
Yeah. Realistically, it did feel way longer than what it was, because before this match, I was just outside with a jacket on. It was cold. I believe it was like November.
Yeah, it looks like it's in late fall there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was cold heading into this match. So yeah, this wrestling, this was warming my body up realistically. So I was my mind was on a lot of things, but my main goal was, make this match look good.
And obviously, where a lot of people are watching it, there's obviously that also that goes into it. There's a lot of people watch this on YouTube and such. So that's obviously a big a big deal as well. You know that there's a lot of eyes on you, right?
Yeah, but honestly, for me, the wrestling and the experience, that's my main thing.
Oh,
Like,
for sure. I mean, but
yeah,
I think also
I love that it did good. I love that, but just the wrestling and just get to be in the ring with Tarzan, man. I ain't even a year ago, a year or two, I didn't even think this was gonna happen, and for it to happen, it's crazy.
yeah, because think about it. You go from a guy like, sure, a lot of people, and then we see obviously it's Obey there, who's
Yeah,
who's been on my show, just to remind people, was on my show and had a gun basically on the air. So he talked about it with Angel Santiago. He was supposed to wrestle him in TF Crew, and
yeah,
that was an interesting thing there. But obviously you wind up there, and not only do you wrestle him, you
I
beat
beat
him.
him,
And then what is that do for your career? What does that do
man.
for you?
Look, that surprise face right there, that was so genuine because man, that adrenaline was so there.
And
I
I
don't
think
know,
that
man.
was, and I think that was your first match there too.
That was my first one-on-one match.
That was your first one-on-one match there. You started off I
Yeah.
was so fucking proud of you when you did that. When you, bro, we was
And then, hold
me.
on, I'm gonna give credit to. I mean, I respect the hell out of Tarzan because
Yeah.
prior to that,
He
she was
he
training
did
us.
things the right way, because there's all too often on this platform. You guys know this. You guys have been in the yard. You hear the stories all the time about a big name goes in, and you know how it goes. But he
Mhm.
went out there and he did
Yeah.
really a nice thing. What he did was really he gave back to the community. Tarzan Duran could have squashed you in 3 minutes if he wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, he's Tarzan Duran. Who's going to argue with him? But he saw a potential to invest in a guy like you and to give you a springboard for whatever you decide in your career. And I think that speaks volumes to his character and what he did for the greater good, not only of the company he was wrestling in, but for the overall wrestling community as a whole.
Oh yeah. No, I agree with you with that because he did not have to do that.
No, he didn't. He doesn't. He
Yeah,
could have
he
went out
really
there
didn't.
and pulled a Hulk Hogan politicking move, and who
Mm.
would have argued with him? He could have pulled a move like everybody else does, and go, yeah, all right.
I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much do you think about that? That even the match
Man,
itself.
I see a lot because I'm on Instagram a lot. I see a lot for
I
wrestling.
see that you're on my
Yeah.
Instagram like every 15 seconds. I mean, I kind of like your post,
I
but
see
like
it a lot, man.
I
I'm seeing it
appreciate
a lot.
that. But I'm not Tarzan Duran, but
Yeah, Tarzan, but yeah, I'm still following them, and I still see some of all the stuff that he doing, and
Mhm.
yeah,
do you
man,
get a
it's
chance? Do you
amazing.
get a chance to talk with him still, or no?
Yeah, I do.
And what's that
Yeah,
like?
he's a cool dude, man. He really is. He still want me. I'm in,
A lot cooler than Jimmy Controversy. No comment.
but
No comment. Don't
he's a
answer.
cool
Don't
dude
answer.
though, and I really respect that. In a way, I have somebody in the pro wrestling world to look up to like that.
A name. Listen, no
Major
question
name.
about that.
Yeah.
In the match, we also saw the prodigies. You had one of the prodigies as the referee, and the prodigies
Oh
are
no,
No, that wasn't a prodigy.
that was actually our referee.
That was so. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that the referee that's in it's a referee called. His name's
Ref
Maine.
Ref Maine.
Yeah, Ref Maine. Everybody knows him.
why did it, I don't know what I'm getting confused with, but okay. But let me ask you though a different question. I'll get to comments shortly, but the Brooklyn Prodigies wrestled in Pro Wrestling Venom. The Brooklyn
Yeah.
Prodigies have been a team that's been mentioned quite a bit on this platform. I would say over the past, 9 or 10 months. And the Brooklyn Prodigies, you guys have had the opportunity to see firsthand, and especially you, Devin, and they have really, I think, been one of the premier tag teams in the entire underground and the independent wrestling circuit. And what do you guys learn from the Brooklyn Prodigies?
Man,
Learning from them, we learned they've been to this day, we still keep contact with the Prodigies. I talk to Behemoth whenever I talk to Behemoth whenever I get a chance. Him and Ray have both been from like when we first met the Prodigies and they knew who we were the moment we walked up. It was an honor. It was super awesome that they knew who we were, and when they found out that me and Brazy were coming up as a tag team, and they knew, they heard that they did everything in their power to help us, to push us, to give us, to like, yeah, you guys need to be this, you guys need this, and that. They was giving nothing but positive advice, nothing but feedback on both the matches we had with each other and everything, and it was a great atmosphere. I appreciate everything the Prodigies have done to help us and everything they've been there. Still owe them one because we're 2-0. We're 0-2 against them, but I still owe them that. We're gonna get that one on them. But I don't know. I'm be honest. I think me and you might have to try. I think because no offense to Brazy, me and him can't get the job done, so it's time to switch it up. Either you and me do it, or you and Brazy. One of the two.
I'm curious.
It might have to be you and me. But
I'm curious. I'll put the match up for a little bit, but they have had a lot of success, and I've seen them in a number of places.
Yeah.
Pro Wrestling Venom, DBW. I think they've been in a whole bunch of LPW. About to say the same thing. And what advice do they give you now that you guys are going out and breaking through really in a more formal way? What advice have they given?
It was so funny when we told them we started training, because it was like the moment, because I called Behemoth first and then he added Ray to the call. And I told them together. When I told them, they was like, well, you said what now? There's like, we're going pro. They was like, yes, yes. It's time. It's about that fucking time. CPW is going pro. I'm proud of y'all. Listen. The first advice they gave us was, the trainer's gonna be a bitch. It's gonna kick you in your ass. Like, it's not gonna be like, it's one thing to go in the ring and do it, but to train the real stuff and then go do it is another. Y'all are putting your bodies through probably one of the toughest processes, because y'all transitioning from now just going out and doing it to now you're training for it, and you're not touching the ring until you get better. And everything they told us was the truth. Since we've been training, we haven't done nothing. We haven't done no shows. We haven't done anything. It's like
you're
it's
stripping
like
down to where you're going back to the basics. Basically, you're reprogramming yourself. You're starting over. From your last show in CPW 2 months ago, you're basically you stripped everything down to where when you go back in a ring, you're basically being trained as a professional to go out there, and whatever you decide to do and where you go, you're going to be doing it at a completely different level.
Standpoint. Everything about it will be different.
How hard has that been to just not go back in a ring, not be in a yard, and just go to training and strip down? A lot of guys are here, and there's James Taylor's here, Jack Delta's listening. I mean, there's a lot of people in and out throughout, and just what's that been like? How hard is that?
I'll let you go first.
It's a test. It's a test. Especially when we officially stop doing it. Like, we usually do it on certain days, like certain weekends or stuff. So when those days come,
weekends,
and we not doing nothing, it's like a problem.
It's like withdrawal.
Some people say sometimes it's even just hard to look at wrestling. Do you guys find it hard to watch wrestling?
Yeah, because it's like, since training, it's took up a lot of time, so we don't really get to catch up with wrestling and stuff like that. But it's not. I wouldn't say it, for us. It's not hard to watch it. It's hard to watch it. But the problem
we want to do it.
Yeah, once we start watching, we're like, I wish I was there.
But
But it's like this. Like if I was able to go back in time and relive this moment with the Prodigies, I would have. Even the match we did with them in Venom, I would have relived it. If I knew what I was signing myself up for, I'm not saying that as a bad thing, but if I knew what I was signing myself up for to start the goal of becoming pro, I would have. I valued this, but I would have valued it a lot
More.
more if I would have knew what was in store for me once
But you
the
know what? You can
company.
look at it whenever that time might be. A friend of mine is a guy, Chris Urban, who trained out of House of Glory, which is run by Amazing Red, which is here in
Yeah.
Queens. And it took him a long time to really go out there and be trained. And he had his match and he wrestled a little bit, got hurt. And, I don't know. He's at a probably age where he has to make a judgment call and a decision. Does he want to go back out there and do it? But whenever that time might be that you return to the ring, but now this time you do it as a pro, when you have that match, let's say with the Prodigies again, it'll probably mean a lot more, I think. And you'll really appreciate that moment. Don't you guys think?
Yeah. It'll be appreciated a lot once we have that moment again. But I'm gonna be honest, and this is just me in character. It's going to be.
Well, I mean,
really
listen, when you get in
appreciated.
character, you better be here and talk about it. But I mean, the Prodigies have just been killing it out there. Them, I don't know. I don't know if you're.
Yeah, they have.
I don't know if you're familiar with the Stompers. They've been also pretty big.
Yeah,
in the
I've heard
scene.
of the Stompers. Yeah,
I've interviewed the Stompers. They're very good friends of mine, Rob Blade, Richie Blanco, and they've had a lot of great matches with them in different places. They've been kind of in the same circuit. They're a little bit more like mid-Atlantic, like Maryland, Delaware-ish area, but the Prodigies are more like, I think, centered in most of the Northeast. But I mean, what the Prodigies have done, and I think it gives you guys motivation to win that moment might be. But is there a timetable? Like I mentioned my friend Chris Urban, and like he trained like not. I hope this won't let you. Hopefully, don't make you feel bad. It took him 5 years to have his first match. He did not go out there. I think that's a little extreme. But he was also older. COVID happened, so really, I would say split the baby in half. More like 3 years of like serious training, but like it took him a long time where he like had a match. Do you have like a timetable in terms of like when do you think you'll have that match, or it's just go to training and just see what happens?
no bull. Our coach. Shout out Frankie Picard.
oh yeah,
One of the heaviest strikers in the game today. Um, he's been pushing us to the limit. He's been pushing us past our boundaries. His hopes for us are high. Um, at first I didn't know when we would be able to get into a ring and start, but he's so determined to get us ready. He's at the point where our first match will be, he's trying to get it to where our first match will be at the end of the summer. So 9 times out of 10 between
that's
August
right around
and
the
September.
corner. You're looking at, I would say that's 2 months from now, basically.
Yeah.
Summer's out in
So
2 months.
So between September October we'll be able to have our first show. And where we're gonna go? That's only time will really tell, because it's a lot of, because I've had the chance to travel with him to certain shows he goes to, and just being there and helping them with everything.
setting up.
I've gotten eyes on myself in like a few promotions already who I've spoken to, and they're like,
I'm curious on that in terms of just going through that, and let's say it's September, October. Do you guys think about that a lot, or you just try not to think about it and go to training?
Me personally, I try not to. I'm taking every
same.
training session, one step at a time.
Because I feel as though thinking to October or September, thinking to that time, it's gonna rush. Because they say once you think about it, once you think about it.
And also, what if you guys have a bad match? What if you guys do something like my friend Chris Urban? I think it was like his second. I watched his first match, and then I watched his second or third match. I remember it was third match, and he did a move. He's a big guy, really big guy, and he does like this move where he flies. He's a big guy. He's a muscle guy, but he does a move where he runs and he does like a suicide dive to everybody, and he lands awkwardly. And he hurt his leg or almost broke his foot or leg. I forget what it was. And he really wasn't the same afterwards. And I don't think he's wrestled much, if at all. That's going back like almost 2 years. So at the same time, you don't want something to happen that all of a sudden you go out there, have the moment, you're not almost formally ready, and it's not what it is to be. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you see it all the time. We see it in the world of sports. We see it in boxing. We see guys come back, and I mean, Mike Tyson was one of the greatest fighters in history, but he had 3.5 years where he was in prison after what happened in Indiana, and he came back and he was rusty. And sure, he was fighting guys and beating them up, but then he fights Evander Holyfield, and he was never the same because he wasn't ready for that. So in a sense, you almost don't want to go out there and you have your match, but you're not really ready. So it has to be the right timing almost, in terms of just getting out there. I'm curious also about this for the audience. Some other guys in pro wrestling. I know Gabe Sayers is training. He's training under Mario Mancini and Paul Roma. I'm sure you've seen Gabe around. Mikey Anarchy is a guy from your area. He's done, you want to talk about a lot to his body. I mean, he came on my platform, and you could basically play connect the dots with his body. Do you talk to those guys? I mean, Gabe is probably a little bit more advanced than you guys are in the training because he's been doing it a little longer. And I think Mikey's probably advanced in certain aspects of it, but guys like Mikey Anarchy and Gabe, because they've been on my platform a lot, especially Gabe. Gabe has really been, I got to say, one of my biggest supporters over the past year. He's been on my show a lot of times. He connected me to Jake Dvorak and a lot of people. He's been a big supporter, a personal friend. Are those guys giving you advice? Have you talked to them at all?
Yeah,
I have been personally.
Not recently, but when we were going to Venom and
they're a big. I mean, Gabe is a big part of Venom and GTS, and so is Mike.
When we were going to Venom and UWF. That was when we really got our opportunities to talk to them. For me personally, Gabe and Anarchy, they weren't the guys giving me advice when I was there. Even if I was there by myself.
Well, Gabe is in your shoes anyway. Gabe is just he's not in that.
Yeah, the one who I shout out to him too because he was like a real OG for me. Brown from UWF. Browns was a real big. He was a real big help for me back when I was there. He was. He didn't know me from a bucket of paint. Showed up one day, and it was my first time showing up, and that man came over, talked to me, and when he was like talking to me, he was talking to me like he known me for like 3 years, and I was like, I felt the genuineness from him, and I'm like, for a man that I just saw go through a barbed wire table, this man is legit. Like he talking, he giving advice, holding his back, like ugh, and I'm like. That's a real.
Did you guys have a chance? I don't know. Did you ever cross paths with Rad Dad?
Yeah.
Rad Dad is funny as all.
I was waiting to ask that because I was like, should I ask them about Rad Dad? But I'm like, you know what? Everybody loves Rad Dad. Rad Dad's he's honestly one of the. He's actually, it's him and I'm gonna get to Copper Dragon in a second, but. Rad Dad is one of the godfathers of the true All Wrestling Matters movement because he was behind the Global Backyard Wrestling Network, which a lot of people really on this platform, like a lot of the core people that come onto Sportswire, like absolutely like look up to. And he was here. Rad Dad I had on like 3 months ago, and he's like probably one of the greatest interviews, maybe not in views, but in terms of just like that. He hadn't been here, but he felt home. He even said, I do podcast all the time, but being here was different. It was just because he was in. Yeah. What did you get from him?
I remember back at it was the live event we did for GTS and Pro Wrestling Venom. And
we was in the match together.
We was in the battle royal for the for the US title. which gonna throw this out there, I never really lost.
And Rad Dad held the title, if I'm not mistaken. I know the whole story there.
He won that one.
Yeah.
And then it was just after that, he was so cool as hell, and he even when it looked like we were upset about something, about how something played out, he did his part to help us feel like you guys don't gotta feel bad.
Well, he's a stepdad. That's what he's supposed to do. That's what he is.
Right, he really was. Like, he'll walk past me with the Intercontinental Championship. He'll just look at me, look at the belt, look at me. I'm just like, really? He's like, yeah, really. And walk past. I'm like, yo. But he was always, Rad Dad was definitely one cool ass dude. I respect the hell out of him.
Yeah, Rad Dad. Did you guys? I don't know if you knew this. He wrestled. He and his tag team partner. They wrestled the Rock and Roll Express. I want to say about 3 years ago. Did you guys talk to him about that? Because I asked him about that, and I was like, what a wild.
No, we never really like our time in Pro Wrestling Venom. Once we got there, the second time was short, so we didn't really get to have those type of conversations with him. That we got to do with certain people.
Gotcha. But you still had the experience. You had the moments there, and we're watching that, and we're here obviously with Devin Adams and the Lone Diamond JJ Stevens. If you want to follow these guys, I highly recommend that you follow these guys. These guys are going to do bigger and better things, and we're very honored that they took a break from training to be here with us. We'll be with them for about 20 or so minutes. We know obviously they're very busy guys, and we're very honored to have them and to get a chance to share their story and just very accomplished wrestlers in the yard, and now they're transitioning to the pro wrestling world. And I have no doubt that they're going to do a lot of great things. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally where all wrestling matters. I want to thank all of the subscribers that have tuned in and people that are coming in. And like I said, I get 1,000 subscribers. I'll let anybody, you want to come on, you want to do a roast of Tom Brady like Tom Bryce, you'll be here. Listen, let me tell you something. You watch, when I hit 1,000 subscribers, that show, there'll all of a sudden be like 50 or 60 people on YouTube. Link. So you just watch. It's going to happen. It's going to be probably, I would say, in the next couple of months. But obviously, let me get to some comments. I want to obviously, let some people say hello before we move on to some other things. Let's see. The saw blade on that title is definitely one of the coolest title designs I've ever seen. Jack definitely knows a lot about title designs. Nice thing about that. Proud of you guys. I agree with Trex on that. Shout out to JJ Stevens. Always appreciated his work. Young Goat Devin Adams too, I guess. And he kind of gave a funny emoji.
I'll take it. There you go.
Well, Jack is don't feel bad. Don't feel too bad because I'm here every night, and Jack does actually have a pretty wicked sense of humor. So a lot of the ROBW guys.
Me and Jack go way. Like me and Jack go back. I know how he is. He knows how I am. So it's me and him has always been the same. We still gotta run it, Jack. I want you to know I'm watching. We still gotta run that third match back. We still 1-1. We gotta run it. We gotta break.
It's funny. Comatose was here on Monday, and he was talking about, I gotta wrestle Jack Delta too. I've been around. I was in BYW Mania, and I gotta wrestle him. And but when you mention it, I think it might be a different dynamic and such. And you just. Because you guys are obviously out there and had some really big, big moments. So you never know, and just anything's possible. But you guys are on.
It really is.
The best moment I had with Delta was definitely in Michigan. We was wrestling for a company, Omega Michigan Wrestling Shop.
Yes, that's obviously JX is the champion. Yeah, James, you must know James Fury then.
No, I never met. So I was there back before JX and them showed up.
Okay.
I was with the OGs, the J Leo, Alex the Gladiators, KTP. Yep. I was with those guys. Their first Gold Rush pay-per-view, that was actually where I made my debut. I showed up. I was in the co-main event and the main event. It was a triple threat match to crown the OMW World Champion. It was me, Jay Leo, and Jack Delta. We put on a hell of a fucking banger. That's where Delta got his first win because he paid me to win the belt. I'll give him that. And then the main event was a battle royal, which he was in the battle royal. And Delta, you know who pinned you to get you out of that battle royal? It wasn't Jay Leo. It was me.
Wow.
But like, other than being good friends with Delta, he also was another person that gave me advice when I met him. especially on my strikes. He was the one guy that told me how to strike.
I think Jack is. I think sometimes he gets a rap, which a lot of people do. That he does give advice, but he's very honest with it. If you ask him, he'll give it to you. And lately, he's said it here the last couple times he's been here. He's been, very forthright because he sees things in the yard of, certain things that have happened. Guys have gotten hurt, different things, and he's given his opinion. And I think his opinion carries weight more than almost a lot of people because he's wrestled in so many places and he's also trained and he has a good understanding of the terrain. So I think if, Jack says something, I'm going to certainly take his, things very seriously and really listen to him. And also I give Jack credit because he's the guy that got Osiris for us on Sportswire. So he was the guy, even though I had Austin G on, but I look at it like Austin G. I had Osiris, which was better, but really Jack was really him and Atomic Titan. I have to give a lot of credit for because the two of them really were the guys that, made that happen. But yeah, I think when Jack says something, his advice means a lot. There are guys, I think, Anthony Steele says something, I'm listening to it. James Taylor, Jack Delta, and James Taylor's in the house. He says hello. Hunter says, shout out to Devin and JJ for letting me create the Big Show Mania logo and the match cards. I'm proud of you guys for real.
Man, looking good.
Hey, man.
Yep, how you doing?
But Hunter is a real good friend of mine. He
watches the show a lot.
Yeah, he watches the show. He's a big fan of my promoing. He's a student in the promoing of mine. I shout out to that video right there. He was the one that helped me put.
I realized I liked it. It was 3 months ago. I liked it 3 months ago.
He put that. He helped me. I gave him the idea of what I was looking for. And he took that idea and he blew it out the park. I couldn't have been more proud of the outcome and how it played out. He did a phenomenal job on that. Again, Hunter, thank you so much. I appreciate everything you've done.
Thank you for your hard work, Hunter. Thank you.
Wrestling,
really, and then, Thank you, Hunter, for your hard work. And Zilla says Rad Dad is better than Graham. I'm gonna certainly.
Yes, I agree. Yep.
Zilla, I'll say a lot of things about Zilla. Want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. D Savage, who was wrestling in Indiana, then Pennsylvania.
What's
you
up,
guys
D
know D
Savage?
Savage? You know him?
I believe if I'm not mistaken, he wrestled in UWF before.
Yes, he did. He did wrestle.
Yeah, I know D Savage. I'll be seeing his work too. Him and Power Surge, they wrestled.
Yes.
They was in the same match. They was in the same match with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I was going to also say D Savage just wrestled a guy I'm sure you've heard a lot of if you're sick and tired of watching this platform, D'Angelo the Flame. He just wrestled. I knew you'd laugh when I mentioned that. Because everybody's I think it was like 3 of my last 4 guests were like, I mentioned D'Angelo. And by the way, I'm wearing his shirt right now. And I go, oh, yeah, I heard D'Angelo the Flame. And they go, I heard it from you. I'm like, yeah, I pretty much talk about him every day. I mean, but yeah, D'Angelo the Flame.
D'Angelo is talented, man.
Yes. D'Angelo, by the way, is also going through the pro route as well. He actually is wrestling his first TV match this weekend out there. So he's actually doing that route.
Killing it.
That's what I'm talking about. Congrats, bro. Congrats.
And then Drake Golddragon, who is the Resurrection National Champion, was the National Champion. Rage beat him for. He's the longest running champion of any sort. Wrestled Moose, who's the TNA Impact Wrestling champion. Yeah.
Nice.
There's some big hitters out there. And they come to Sportswire, by the way. They come to Sportswire. They don't go anywhere else.
D'Angelo.
But D'Angelo, I got to say, he's one of my favorite people in the circuit. I got to say, humble, just very nice, down to earth. I have something I could play of his, but I don't want to do it. It's a little thing. I don't know if you guys watch his Instagram. He fell through the boards. Did anybody see that video? I don't think I'm going to play it.
I don't believe I seen that.
Well, I'm not going to play it. It's not the right time yet. But obviously, it was fun. It was funny, but I'll take this off the screen for now. Okay, so obviously, I could talk with you guys all day, but I want to get to a few other things. For you guys, is there 1 or 2 moments in your career so far that stand out most?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell me them, because we're here. I haven't got much more time with you guys. I mean, hopefully that gets back.
Man, for me, it would have to be the first. For me, it was the very first Big Show Mania main event. Me versus Brandon Hunter, title for title, for the World and East Coast Championship. Our first Mania, our first main event was a title match. It was crazy. And it was good. That's one. Me and the whole first feud between me and him, between me and Jay, was just even if it wasn't the first, our entire feud throughout CPW history was like
one of the best.
Blockbuster. Everybody was like, "Yeah, do this again." That those two, and then most doubt my
Me?
run in the tag division with Chun. Triple B was definitely with BBN transition to Triple B. Chun is my best friend. We've been 4-time tag team champions. He's always had my back. He's always been there when I needed him. If he felt some type of way, he would tell me, and whatever the case. He's never, out of everybody in CPW history, Chun is the only one that's never stabbed me in the back. And
wow,
it wasn't that. It wasn't that he just didn't.
Man.
It wasn't that we didn't talk about those type of things. It was just Chun didn't want to be like everybody else. Chun didn't want to be that other person to be known as someone who stabbed me in the back. So I've never been the type of person to do something that someone doesn't want to do. If you don't want to do it, I'm fine with that, and I appreciate it because he was honest with me. So that's just me.
Me?
Yeah.
I say my whole experience with UWF, my first season with UWF or last season, yeah, that whole thing, it was an experience I never experienced before.
Yeah, UWF, Jake and Justin Abel Sane were there, and I was talking to the guys off the air. I'm sure they don't have a problem with me saying it, but they were talking about how much they loved it there, and they raved about the people there, and that's so cool when I hear guys talk about going to places and it's their first time there or it's their first time in a live setting in a while, and they talk about how it's a positive experience. You never know when you go to places. You never know where you walk in somewhere,
And so I didn't know how far it was at first until I looked it up, and it was like a 20-minute car ride. So I was like, no, I have to go. So I made it, and yeah, the whole experience was amazing. And
that's cool.
The second one was probably my first ladder match. Not TLC, but my first ladder match I had with WTW out in Delaware.
Yes, WTW. Yes, we just started following,
man. I love WTW. Look, man, that's my second home. That's my second home, in my opinion.
It's crazy how, it's crazy how like the circuit is such a small world because you mentioned this place and that. Oh yeah, I know them. Yeah, I know them. Yeah.
And a lot of people.
Yeah, it's like I know them. Yeah, all right. Yeah, well, it's kind of like I kind of thought that would happen tonight. And then it was like we're talking now over the past hour and a half. Yeah, I pretty much knew that would happen. That's kind of what it kind of goes there. And D Savage says, "What's good, y'all?" He says, "One day I'll return to the UWF." And he saw the Flames video. Yeah, we'll put up another time. But want to get to this. I'm so proud of you guys and this journey with you guys. It's amazing.
Oh, it's Tanisha.
How you doing, Tanisha?
Tanisha. Really mean it. Really. Thank you.
Thank you. We want to miss you, Tanisha, for sure. But are you going to, before I get to a few more things, are you guys going to miss anything about CPW or guys there? Is there anything you're going to miss?
We're going to miss everything. That was our baby. Yeah, CPW was, I don't know if anyone's peeped it, but
yeah, I saw it. Yes, I did see it. I actually noticed.
You feel me? That right there, plus the belts, because we still have them. Those are the memories that we have of CPW. For me, it's mainly the flag because of the fact that it was the first custom thing we got. The flag was first.
Yeah.
Once we got the flag, I just felt as though this was the sign of a new era in backyard wrestling. It was a sign that we planted. We planted that flag in the ground of backyard wrestling, and with everything we did, we proved to everybody why we deserve to be in the talks of the best backyard companies, whether it's anywhere. We're not a company that people want. We weren't that company that people wanted to sleep on, because the moment they try and sleep on us, we're coming out with something new. We're blowing people's minds. We're pulling
Well, I
out.
talked about that, like the pressure that you might have had because you were the only one. You're the only thing out there. There's so
Yeah.
many. Listen, look on here on Sportswire. I mean, you hear the tea leaves. There's hundreds of companies, and so many of them come on here, and you're trying to, stand out. You're trying to be able to cut your own niche because, like I said, every day there's somebody different that comes onto Sportswire, just in a way. And you guys were able to hang in and get over 600 subs. That's not an easy thing to do to get to that many. I mean, I gave you 3 on 3 of my pages I own, but you still got 3 of them. But
Appreciate that.
you're welcome. You're welcome. But the point is that to get that many, it's like that's impressive. It's impressive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We found out we hit 600.
We threw a party, didn't
we? We threw a party.
Exactly.
Well, when I get to 1,000, you guys are invited. Relax. When I get to 1,000,
we'll be there.
Yeah, you better be there.
All you gotta do is hit us up. We there.
Yeah, we make it.
Oh, you'll know the word will hit up. All you have to do is message me. But that's cool. You hit 600. You had a party for it. That's a nice little thing.
Yeah,
with the whole roster.
Yeah, it was a big accomplishment for us because even though the guys from Philly came in towards the ending of it. They like a year, and they still did their part. They still played their roles. They still helped us out. They didn't. The one thing that I respect about IPW, the roster, all of them. I don't care who it is from beginning to end that have been on our show. They never tried to step in front of the OGs. They came in. They fell in line. They were told what to do, and they went out there and do like we do. But they did exactly like we did. They went out there and
tore the house down.
Tore the house down. There was, for the most part, there were a few mishaps, but even those mishaps were still proud moments because they learned from them. So, just every moment we've had, even with the guys in Philly, it was.
We're gonna miss doing this on a weekly day.
Well, this is for those guys too. Obviously, I'm gonna send this to you guys when we're off the air. But you guys did a really good thing, and I know it's gonna be tough, but you have to think for yourselves, and you have to go out there. And you guys have had some good moments out there in the underground and the independent circuit. And if you're gonna really go the way you want to go, you have to get trained, and I think that that's the best route you can go. And you guys may not have this opportunity 5 years from now. Your family responsibility comes into play, and if you have the drive and the time to do it now, you might as well go out and do it while you have a chance. So I think that this is the right move to make, and we're definitely proud of you guys, and it's definitely a once a year, anytime you're welcome to. And it's really been, I know it kind of wasn't spur of the moment, but I didn't get a chance to announce you sooner. But because I've been doing 2-a-days almost. Hillbilly Tilly quoted on X. It's been like 2-a-days.
Yeah.
I think I've done the last 60 days. One of my guests a couple weeks ago, Thomas Taft, T3, who's who's very good friends with the Prodigies. And he was saying, I get the notifications on my phone. He's like, Tom, when was the last time you didn't do a show on Sportswire? And I was like, honestly, I think March. I mean, it's really seriously, every night, I think since March, I've been here. So that's why I didn't get a chance to announce it sooner. But, before I get to closing thoughts, is there anything else you guys want to share? Anything else you guys want to say to the audience, to your fans, to the community, to CPW, anybody out there before we move on to final thoughts?
I'll let you go first.
Tune in and really just, I don't know, expect the unexpected, really, because we're going into this with the most humble look into this, because like you said, this is an opportunity a lot of people don't get. We don't want to squander it or do anything to prevent it from happening. So my fans and everybody supporting CPW, just watch out, because JJ Stevens and Devin Adams, we hope, and quite frankly, we want to take over the pro world. So
you will.
We will.
Yeah, I hope you will. always say you will,
You will.
because you will do it, because look at what you've done so far. You have a win over Tarzan Duran on your belt. You have 2 shows in Venom. You, Devin, with a GTS US champion. You've been in there with some big guys, so you will take over the pro wrestling world. So,
But
The only thing I got to say, I've said it once, I've said it twice, I've said it a million times, and for this particular time, I'm gonna reference it for us, for CPW. You may not like us. You may not like us. You may not love us. You may hate us. You may appreciate us. Either or. But the one thing that everybody has to do is one simple thing. And it's not for us. It's for the memory. It's for the legacy. It's for the history that CPW brought to the YouTube, to backyard scene. And simple. Acknowledge us. Acknowledge CPW. Acknowledge everything we've done. Acknowledge the guys that went out there at a playground with multiple times of having a crowd and blew the house down. And we still running, still going.
Before my last shout out, I'm gonna shout out Eddie Exile.
Good old Eddie Exile, the man that is supposed to be coming to Sportswire, but I couldn't get him on today. Why? Because we're speaking.
Eddie
Shout
is
out to
the only man, realistically,
to travel out,
actually keep his word.
Yeah,
and that's no shade to nobody, but he kept his word. And he actually came out and
he's wrestling my guest who came on Saturday, Rob O'Malley. He's wrestling him.
Yeah.
We know. It's funny. We know Rob O'Malley.
You know Rob O'Malley?
Yeah.
The TikTok influencer Rob O'Malley. You know him.
WCW. Yeah.
Rob O'Malley's WCW. Yep.
So what's funny? We met. Eddie came to us. He seen our performance. He had a match with JJ. Yeah. Killer ass Canadian destroyer.
That's why Rob O'Malley liked my video on Instagram just before. Now I see it. Why Rob O'Malley? The bearded wonder himself.
Eddie brought up WCW to us, and he that was probably the best anyone could have done for us. He reached out to us and was like, "Yeah, I got a show out in New York," and then we went out 3 times. And like Eddie's like our brother. He's like our older brother.
Yeah, I hear. I think Rob was on and off the air very, very complimentary of him. I know he's done a lot of work with Gabe Sayers. Eddie Exile. Eddie Exile is
he's an awesome dude, man.
Yeah, I actually really want to get him onto Sportswire. I just have you guys instead. He'll be back. He'll be here on Sportswire.
Yeah, he's been like an older brother. He's looked out for us. He's made sure we was okay. He was the one getting us. He was like our main transportation for getting to WCW.
Wow.
He helped us out a lot. Eddie Exile helped us get our name out into the.
He's like a brother.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. I'll make sure he hears this on Instagram. So you don't worry about that. I'll make sure. I will. Trust me. I'll make sure he hears it on Instagram. I promise you.
We got our names out in Jersey and Philly. Yeah. Eddie was the one that helped us get our names out in New York, and Connecticut.
They were big. I think Eddie's big with that Rochester, Amsterdam,
Amsterdam,
Buffalo area. Yeah. Saratoga.
That's where WCW is. Amsterdam, New York.
And Rob is from Amsterdam. Rob is from right up.
So we had a couple. I think we had a couple matches with O'Reilly. With O'Malley. Yeah.
O'Reilly.
I think that was that was a fun dude. O'Malley.
I like him a lot. He was in the Riot in the Ring, and I saw him in RWA, and RWA was his opponent wasn't great, but his work in the Riot in the ring was very good. He was very good in the Riot. He wrestled Shock, who is from House of Misfits Entertainment. I don't know if you know King Shock. He's farther up though in that area. But he had some really good matches in the Riot in the ring, and he's wrestling Gabe Sayers coming up in the All Wrestling Matters Hardcore Tournament. So it's
okay.
The circle of life just goes all around, and he's wrestling Gabe next month. He's got Eddie Exile September 21st. He's got he's got Gabe August 24th. Then he's wrestling Saturday. He's got a match Rob O'Malley with Princess Deathwish and Javi Kent, who's a tag team partner.
Princess Deathwish.
Yep.
Javi.
Princess Deathwish. Yep. And Princess Deathwish. And Princess Deathwish, get this, was supposed to wrestle Rad Dad, but there was obviously a scheduling conflict because they had the TF Crew show in June, which I actually bought a ticket for and let somebody go. I'm sure Gabe did something with it. I'll ask Gabe later. But
I think I heard about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was what it was. So yeah, just the world. What a small turn of events. And before we close, there's some great stuff. I want to make one more. I want to say one more thing about CPW. And you talked about acknowledging it. This is what I wanted to say before we move on. I can promise you that on this platform, that CPW will always have a legacy. And I can promise you that anybody from the history of CPW that would like to hear their voice heard one day is welcome on Sportswire. And I can promise you that anything that I can do to help the CPW name live on, you can rest assured that as long as I have a pulse and as long as I have this platform, which, by the way, somebody wanted to purchase not too long ago, and I actually told them no.
Oh,
I don't
man.
don't worry about it. This is not going to happen. That's not on my watch. But the point is that anything I can do for CPW, you rest assured your legacy and your history will always be in good hands here on Sportswire. So you can be rest assured that it's CPW will always have a home on this platform. And congratulations on all your success, fellas, and thank you for your contributions to the BYW and underground community. I agree with Hillbilly Tilly. Also, to break the fourth wall for you, Devin, your fiance and sister, to JJ Stevens, keep up the great work. So that there you go. You break the fourth wall there. And Copper Dragon also sealed CPW's history, right? When Copper Dragon gave
shout out to Copper Dragon.
It really was.
CPW has some of the best striking spots in backyard. I mean, look at how well that was executed. Look at the cell. Beautiful.
Wow.
Oh, man. So,
there you go. See, I saved the best for last, right? Copper.
Yeah.
I mean, I sponsored, by the way. Thank you guys for that because, I sponsor Copper every week on his videos. But that was nice of him, right? Nice to do that.
Yeah, appreciate
I originally knew about him from TikTok, believe it or not.
Yes, he's big on TikTok.
Yeah, he posted some of my stuff and it blew up. Well, mine blew up on TikTok, and then I seen that he reposted it, and I've been a fan of him ever since.
Yeah, he's got another amazing history, but he's really kind of come full circle in the last year or so with all his ratings and his reviews. And I actually call him all the time. He's our backyard version of Dave Meltzer. And
I've seen that you call him that.
He laughed. Yeah, he laughed about that. I think he liked it, but I don't really know if he liked it. But knowing Mr. Dragon, as I refer to him, I don't think he really would say whether he would dislike it or not. But so far, he seems to like it because he seems to like me referencing him on Sportswire. Want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. Levi McDaniel, of course, the Belfast bruiser man himself. Is Levi McDaniel's? Yep, Levi's great. There's a lot of stuff with my IMF guys who are going to be here. By the way, tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern time in your chair, we'll have a slew of these guys. Omen Black, I'm sure. Justin Parsley will appear. Anthony Steele, I'm sure, will find his way back to Sportswire. Soldier GP, Il Drago, Sean Jovi, the usual cast of characters. Mephisto, Ace Diamond, new U.S. champion, Isaiah Rage. We'll see a whole, they'll be here. It'll almost be like a family feud almost, but I'll be in the middle of it being a judge here. But obviously, I think we got the point. I could talk to you guys all day, but let's obviously move on. And it's been an absolute honor, fellas. I definitely want to see you guys here very soon. Anytime you're welcome.
Yeah, I think I want to come back.
Yeah,
most definitely.
I want back.
What a brother.
Yeah, this time we'll make sure our third brother is here.
I want all of you here. I want you
all
here.
Of us, of course.
All right. I want that promise. So whether it's next month, let's get your third brother here. Let's make it a trio.
Well, let's get the whole CPW roster out.
We can do that.
I'll tell you what, you want it?
Yeah,
you want
we
it?
can do that.
Bring him here. You pick the date. Well, you pick the date. You pick the date.
All right.
You pick the date, and we'll do it. That sound like a deal?
That sounds like a plan to me.
Oh, yeah.
So give me some closing thoughts, and we'll put a bow on it.
Everybody, thank you.
Yeah, for real.
For everything. Shout outs to everybody who watches us, who watches us, who was a big fan of us, who really supported us through thick and thin.
And I think we lost the guys. There we go. Go ahead, you guys. You got it. You got the. We're almost over. Don't worry.
And the journey of CPW may be over, but the journey of Devin Adams and JJ Stevens is not.
It's not. And like I said, we're grateful for the years we had in the backyard wrestling scene. Like this.
No, listen, it's never gonna be over.
Yeah,
CPW
this
will always live on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't die. And
no, it'll never die. You have a legacy, and you guys went out there, and to quote Hillbilly Tilly, you put your blood, sweat, and tears out there, and you did it for the love of this sport. You're a true wrestler. You're a true yarder, and you guys will always have that spirit, and that's why you guys are going to do bigger and better things. And, I really think that you have a legacy that will always live on, and you'll have a lot to be proud of. And, there's an old expression that a rising tide will always lift all boats. And you guys will always have that rising tide to lift everybody around you, family, friends, CPW, and the community as a whole, because you'll always have that with you. You're just taking another step up the ladder to do bigger and better things. And that's why we're going to have you guys here. And anytime you want, you're always welcomed here. And I just can't thank you enough for everything you've done for us in this sport. I can't thank you enough for your contributions in our circuit. And, I think that the best is yet to come. And I'm going to make one more promise for you guys. When you get ready to step foot in that pro ring, so when you get out there, I know it's going to be soon, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
When you go out there and have that first match afterwards, I'm going to put you guys both into this little thing called the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. How does that sound?
We
really appreciate that.
I appreciate that.
Well, we'll have a speech, we'll have a ceremony, and you'll go there alongside the likes of Jack Delta, Atomic Titan, James Taylor, Omen Black, Jake Dvorak, Soldier GP, Joshua Allen, Justin Parsley, and so many, D'Angelo LaFlame, and all these other people that have been in our circuit, and you're going to go alongside that, Mr. Judgment, and all these guys like Brandon Costelli, Chase Wakefield, all these different names that are in the circuit that are in our Hall of Fame, Soldier GP, and I have so many, Jackson Law, names that are household names, and you guys deserve to be there. CJ Black's in the Hall of Fame, and Jason Storm, and there's a list of people, Julian Voigt Jacobs, and there's so many other people, and I think you guys are going to take your place alongside them. And before I leave, I want to say hello to viewer out there on YouTube that's been looking to start her own podcast, I think, in streaming. Her name is Haley. Haley, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching and listening to us. She wants to obviously start her own thing, and I hope that that'll be something that she wants to do. And thank you for your support. She's on TikTok, Haley NP14. Check her out. But fellas, congratulations on all the success. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do in the future, and congratulations on everything. Keep up the great work. I look forward to seeing you with the rest of the roster coming up here next month, and seeing what you do in your pro debut here in a few months.
Thank you, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was arguably the heart and soul of CPW, Champion Prime Wrestling, none other than the prize fighter himself, Devin Adams, and the Lone Diamond, JJ Stevens. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters. If you're on sportswireradio.org, you can check us out anytime. That's our internet radio station. You can check us out via the Listen Live button. If you're on Twitch, I say thank you. If you're on the other platforms, such as YouTube at Sportswire Radio 6579, Exit Thomas Bryce 2017, and my other YouTube YouTube channels, the Promo and the Pride Wrestling Federation pages. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back here 10 o'clock Eastern time with the IMF guys to get you ready for their upcoming show Saturday. But until then, please support the guys in CPW. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night.